Welcome to a new episode of the Spotters Podcast. Today we're pulling back the curtain on the airshow world, not from the cockpit, but from the ground where the real magic happens. Our guest is Kelley Hammond, the operational backbone of Ghost Rider Airshows and the partner of aerobatic pilot Nathan Hammond. Let's dive in. There you are.
There I am.
Hi. Welcome back.
Yeah.
All right, welcome everyone. We just got started here. I was actually just going through your feed. I saw some photos from ICAST. You know, what happens in Vegas can only be shared through photos. How was that reunion of friends?
Exactly what you just said. It is a reunion of friends. It's a proof of life for everybody, and it's something that we look forward to every year because it's a big reunion for everybody.
Yeah,
It's the one time a year where we actually get to see all of our friends in one place, not just at a single air show, throughout the year.
yeah. Do people still go to ICAST, like different shows, and say, okay, we want you to be at our show this year?
I mean, that's what a big part of ICAST it's a big, I don't want to say vendor show, but it's all of the performers. We have our booth set up, and that's when all the producers of the air shows, they come and they have exhibit hall sessions where they come in and they talk to us and they say, well, I want you for 26. I want you for 20. A lot for us at 20 at this year's ICAST. It was a lot for 27, looking ahead because, for us at this point, season's already booked by the time we go to ICAST.
Hmm.
So, we're looking ahead at the next couple of years and trying to book through for those. So
Interesting. So you already have your schedule done by the end of 2025 for 2026.
it's for the most part done. I mean, even right now, we're still in talks with some shows, waiting for confirmation to whether or not we're going to be performing at that show or not. So we'll probably add another handful of shows, but I
Wow.
mean, we're pretty set.
Yeah. So we have your schedule here. It's on Ghost Rider underscore air shows. And it almost looks like every weekend in most months are taken by an air show. Is there
Yeah.
any downtime throughout the year besides,
Um,
those
now,
weekends
now,
before
now,
this?
now is our downtime. Um,
Yeah.
but it's funny, even right now in our downtime, we sit at home thinking, or we're sitting at the airport, tinkering on the airplane, updating, doing some maintenance, and we feel like we should be somewhere because it's like after we've been home for about a week, we're like, we should go somewhere. We should fly somewhere and go do something. But yes, this is our downtime right now. We'll have a week or so here and there in between shows starting out, which is good. We like to start out slow and then go into it because it just gives us
Yeah.
time to kind of warm up to the season. But yeah, starting end of May, June, it's nonstop until November.
Wow.
So
Yeah, you have the Children's Gasparilla here. That was down in Tampa.
yeah, we just did that
Uh,
last weekend.
yeah, last weekend, and then not this coming weekend, but the following weekend, you're in the Buckeye Airfair,
Yep,
and then you have March off.
yep, we've
Or
got
do
March.
you have anything scheduled in March that's pending?
Um, we've got a couple of Nate's got to go do a few. A lot of people have learned that he's a really good speaker, so they have called on him to come and do to be their keynote speakers at some aviation conferences and things like that. So we'll be going to Montana at the end of February because he'll be speaking at the Montana Aviation Conference, and we'll be doing a couple of local talks for EAA chapters here in
Oh,
March.
awesome.
So.
That's fun. Well, that's great. That's great. Um, okay, let's kind of kick it off here. How did you first become involved with Ghost Rider and aviation in general?
So in aviation in general, my mom was a pilot a long time ago. um, she got her student license when she was in college, and then when her and my dad got married, back in the 70s, money was tight. And so she kind of quit lessons and never got her pilot's license until I met Nate. Nate
Mm.
and I met in high school, and I hadn't really been around aviation that much until I started dating him, and then it's just been nonstop airplane since. And so, so with as far as the air show industry goes, Nate was the crew. He was the crew chief for and a ferry pilot for the airplane that he flies now for the previous
Mm.
owners, the Pepsi Aerial Entertainers, Steve and Suzanne Oliver. He was their crew chief for many, many, many years. And so long before we became Ghost Rider Air Shows, long before we had kids, um, I traveled around with him to several air shows, just kind of learning what air shows were. I was the new kid, like just had no clue what was going on. But so traveled around with some air shows with him for that. And then once our girls came along and we kind of renamed the airplane to Ghost Rider Air Shows, we kind of took on that role of we became his crew and now we travel around everywhere with him.
Wow.
So
Wow. So he's been doing air shows for quite some time then.
he has. He's been skywriting for a long time. Steve and Suzanne taught him how to skywrite, and to the point where towards the end of their career, it was Nate was taking on more of the flying the air show role, and so there was some times where he would go and fly the show, and but he he's been in it for a long, long time. He comes from an aviation background because he was born and raised in Rhinebeck, New York, where the old Rhinebeck Aerodrome is based. And
Mm.
so he got a lot of, I want to say, stick time up there, flying around with his dad in the old airplanes that still fly today.
Wow, that's awesome. So there's
Yeah.
aviation in both your family,
Yeah.
and kind of like now, are you also a pilot?
I am not, but both of our girls have expressed an interest in it and are working right now on studying for their written so that they can go take their written so they can
Oh,
start
very
taking
cool.
lessons. So
Awesome.
they are they are all about it.
So what is your role with Ghost Rider air shows?
So other than just being wife and mom, I am the crew chief, logistics coordinator. I handle all the paperwork that comes through our email, and it used to be all on Nate. And because before I did this, I was a full time teacher. So my day didn't start with Ghost Rider until about 4 o'clock. And so
Wow.
I stepped away from teaching at the end of the 24 school year and decided to do air shows full time with Nate. And so I kind of took over all of the office work, office duties. And so I handle all the contracting, all of emails, phone calls, um, and ordering pyrotechnics, all of that. So I've taken over that role, and the girls have kind of taken over the crew chief part. So they help do the maintenance and things like that on the airplane, and I do all the behind the scenes stuff.
Wow, that's impressive, but that's also sounds like a ton of work on your part.
Well, we joke that for an air show that's in November, our planning for it starts now, because it's just once we get that signed contract, it's constant communication back and forth with the air show producers, their media teams, the FAA, emails back and forth throughout that time span between when we get the contract to when that show is. We're going back and forth through email talking about what they need from us because
Mhm.
we tell every show once we're at the show site, we're there for you. We'll do whatever you need, whether it be media rides, skywriting, um, TV interviews at 4 a.m. Those emails come through a lot. So we start coordinating those now. He's got a few coming up for Buckeye that he's going to have to do early in the morning. So we start planning those things months in advance. Sometimes it's a couple of weeks in advance. I've already got media teams, marketing teams from different air shows reaching out, wanting our media kits so that they can start promoting their show with our
Mm.
photos. So so it's a constant 6 to 12 months out from whenever it is we sign that contract to when the show is. So it's an ongoing thing throughout the year. So I
Yeah.
say this is our downtime. Every day I'm on the computer, sending emails, making phone calls.
Yeah.
So,
Wow. And I just thought of a question because being in the FAA, is every flight standard district office, are they all kind of the same procedural wise in every city, or is it all kind of different depending on what
for the
region
most
you're in?
part, yes. So they'll reach out. Sometimes it's the air boss that reaches out to us, and sometimes it's the FAA, whoever the inspector is for that show.
Yeah.
Um, that person will reach out to us, a couple of weeks in advance, sometimes a month in advance, um, if they know that they're going to be working that show. But it's usually it's the same general thing. They just need paperwork just to
Yeah.
show that you're up to date on your medical, on all of the documents for the airplane, all the maintenance records for the airplane. Now, Nate handles all that. Um, I just send the paperwork.
So, being that you're the business manager, the logistics coordinator, you're pretty much the person in charge of this team. Nathan just flies it, the show. What is a typical like air show weekend? How does that look like when you arrive the day? It's probably a few days before the show. How does that weekend look?
Typically, we arrive at least on a Thursday. So if there's usually Thursday's practice day. If it's a long haul show, if we're going to if we have to go to West Coast, we might leave on a Tuesday. Um, or if there's weather moving in, we'll leave earlier. But typical weekend, we get to the show site. We've already coordinated with their media team. We know when practice is. We've coordinated with the air boss. We've coordinated with the announcer for the weekend. So everything's pretty well set by the time that we get there. But once we land on site, it's, I've got to go secure the car, find out where our hangar is, find out who the ramp boss is, who's going to be taking care of moving the airplane back and forth. And those are kind of like the standard must do's as soon as we get to an air show. But once we take care of all those things, usually the weekend runs fairly smoothly because the show already has all of their stuff set in stone and
Yeah.
what they need. And and it's like I said earlier, once we get to the show site, we're there for the show, and whatever they need from us, we'll do our best to fulfill that request.
Yeah.
So we as soon as we land, it's really busy the day that we get there, our arrival day, but just because there's so many things that have to be done the minute we get there, by getting the car, finding out where our hotel is, what hangar are we going to be in, where is he going to park during the day, during the show. And then from there, it's, talking to the air boss, talking to the announcers, making sure they have all that they need from us in order to run the music for the show, or to making sure that the air boss doesn't have any questions, the FAA doesn't have any questions. And then just each day we go to briefing every day. We might have to do an interview. Everything that happens during that weekend goes into our Google Calendar, and I set reminders. And it's shared between Nate and I and our girls, so that nobody is questioning,
Yeah.
what are we supposed to do tomorrow? What time do we need to be up? Before we go to bed every night, it's okay, everybody set your alarms for this time, because we need to be rolling and walking out the door at this time, because we have to be on site at this time. And so that's when we really get into a rhythm and a schedule. Right now we're like, going to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning. We're just kind of lax on our sleep schedules. But it's, I keep telling them all, I'm like, we really need to like get back into a routine, because it's going to come up on us fast. And so it's, usually I'm always the first one up, and I'm texting everybody going, okay, it's time to get up, and I'm bumping Nate, it's time to get up, we gotta get going. So, but once we're on site, everything pretty much runs fairly smoothly, and it runs like clockwork. You get to a show that's got the schedule, and we know, as long as we know what we're supposed to do, everything runs super smooth.
How many of your air shows this year are going to be including a night portion?
I think all but maybe two.
Wow.
And
So
some
you're
of
pretty
those night
much,
shows are double night shows. So that's becoming more and more popular. Is a lot
mm,
of these shows are are taking their shows a Friday night and Saturday night. Now, the Friday night, a lot of shows have learned to do like a Friday night sponsor and volunteer only show, but
Mm,
they do a night show just for them. And so they get a front row seat to a night show. And then the Saturday nights for the public. So a lot of shows have started doing that. And then, I mean, we've got one show this year where we have 3 night shows in a row, and it's all Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night.
wow.
So, but a lot of shows are moving, not just to 2 night shows, but a lot of shows are moving to that evening portion air show. Sun and Fun's doing that this year. Their Wednesday night, their Wednesday. They're gonna start later for the day show and then take it into the night show,
Oh, cool.
which is something new that they're doing this year. I think they posted about that last week that they were going to try and do that. So
Okay.
it's the popularity for night shows is growing. There are more night show performers coming into the scene, which is good, because we need more. So it's it's a growing industry for sure.
Yeah, definitely. There's we kind of learned that last year with the Stewart Air Show and having a government shutdown. We couldn't get afterburners unless, you had a MiG and he had flames coming out the back. Tony Remuto with the MiG 17. But normally for a night show, you would have like military demos and you'd see afterburners.
Yep.
Here it was you guys, it was Tony Remuto, the jet plane
Yet.
was
Mm-hmm.
out there. You had quite a few people doing a night show. I think it was like 4 or 5 different teams. I can't remember who else was there. Mini jet air shows, Ghost Rider. Oh, you had the jet truck that was
Oh yeah.
that was
Yep.
part of the night show. I mean, it's truck versus airplane, but
But who doesn't love a
um,
truck?
it's still people love to see that flame
They
coming out.
do. The amount of people that rush up to that the show line, when the jet truck goes by, it's crazy. They love it.
Oh, yeah, Kyle says Raptor Photography says the Titan
Oh
also
yeah,
did
Titan
a
was
part
there.
there. What's the most challenging part of preparing the pyrotechnics and lights for a night show?
So the lights are permanent on the airplane right now. They don't come off. We don't remove those in between, but they are controlled by one little box and Nate's phone. So the biggest thing is as we're packing and getting ready for shows, we have a bag that we have all of our tools and everything in that goes to every show with us. It's got our drills. It's got little nippers to cut wires. It's got just everything you could possibly think of. But one of the things that we always make sure that's in there is that little, we call it the hockey puck, is the little box that controls the lights. And we have to make sure that that's in our bag of stuff before we go. Or else it's just going to be white lights the entire time and you can't change them because it's the little router box for it. So as far as the pyro goes, it's just right now it's just making sure that everything's wired correctly. A lot of shows, we have our standard loadout for most shows, but there are some shows that we will do this year, like Sun and Fun in Oshkosh, where he comes back and flies with the fireworks. That's an additional add-on to the current fireworks that we already have loaded out on our normal loadout. And so it gets wired differently. So we have to make sure meaning me and our girls, because Nate I don't think he's wired pyro in 6 months. So he's probably watching, so he's probably gonna laugh at that. But so with the pyro, we just have to make sure that everything is punched down correctly into the correct circuits, so that when he turns it to that that specific circuit, that it fires like it's supposed to. The girls have gotten very good about doing that, and I've been doing it for years of wiring that pyro, because I used to do it all by myself. And then when the girls came along, then the girls started helping out, and like I was telling you earlier, now I get pushed away, because I'm not doing it right. But it is still a family affair. I mean, we all take the girls will work on gerbs while I'm racking all the pyro, all the different racks that we put in there. And then when they're done, Nate will mount it on the airplane. Sometimes the girls will mount it on the airplane. It takes all four of us now just to get it all finished. But the good thing is with all four of us working on it, we're able to get it knocked out pretty quick.
Yeah.
It used to take me by myself. It used to take me 8 hours to wire one show. Wow. And so we used to wire it at the shows. But now a lot of times he's just flying it on the wings to the show and it's ready to go when we get there. So that makes it a whole lot easier. Is that way we can take our time and spread it out over a couple of days and we're going to wire this much this day. We're going to wire this much this day and get it completed before he leaves to go to fly to the show. So
okay,
it saves us some time in the long run.
So you're packing all the pyrotechnics that you need for, let's say, Sun and Fun. There's going to be 2 night shows, probably 3 night shows. You're packing 3 nights of pyrotechnics into your aircraft or onto your aircraft?
Okay, so for big shows like that, Sun and Fun, Oshkosh, we drive it, or I drive it, or Nate's dad will drive it to the show for us, because it's just a lot. But we will. For Sun and Fun, we will pre-wire everything. So that way we don't have to do any wiring when we get there because Nate, we finally figured it out. After so many years, you finally figure it out. But maybe if we build more racks, we can wire more pyro. So we have gotten to the point now where we have, several different sets of the pyro mounts that go on the airplane. And we will try and pre-wire those as much as we can before each show. That way we don't have to do any of that work. We don't have to sit out in the 90-degree heat in the middle of June in Florida to sit and wire pyro in the heat. Don't ask me how I know I've done that. Too many times. And so we finally figured out that, hey, if we do this, we can do it, where it's a little bit cooler, and take our time on it. But so we've built multiple sets of racks so that we can wire everything ahead of time and take it with us. And then that way, all we got to do is just take the spent pyro off, put the new pyro on. And it just saves so much time.
Yeah, definitely. What's your favorite part of the job when you think about the whole Ghost Rider show experience?
Well, for one, getting to see all of our friends, obviously, when we go to a show. I love that part. But being able to just, it's funny because every night show that he does, I still get goosebumps because, I can be standing either on the announcer stand because, at most shows, I'm standing on the announcer stand with the radio because I have to call him in. There's a video on our Instagram page that shows how he turns the pyro on at just the right time. And it's because I'm on the radio and I count him down 3, 2, 1, hit it. And so at most of the shows, I'll be on the radio counting him down, but I'm close enough to the crowd that it's so funny. As soon as he turns that pyro on, you can hear everybody go, "Whoa, that's so cool!" And then at the end, when he's doing his burner 360, and shooting all that pyro off, it's cool to hear the crowd reaction. And if I'm not near the crowd, usually the announcer will be like, "What?" The announcer will say something afterwards about, "What'd you think about that?" And just the crowd goes wild, and it's just crazy. And it's just, I don't know. Even to this day, it's still just, it gets me. It's just awesome. So.
That has to be the greatest part is having that reaction, that crowd reaction to a maneuver, and it's really, it would probably, if he hears it, I'm sure it would fuel his excitement also. Like, oh, you know what? Maybe I should incorporate that maneuver for, like, instead of doing 1 loop, let me do 2 loops, in the next show. Or, do you ever get any feedback like that on what kind of maneuvers people would like to see?
Not so much on maneuvers. We just get a lot of just positive feedback on just what their favorite part was. Everybody loves the ending where he's shooting off all that pyro. And then we get a lot of people that just tell us that, like, you've got the greatest music for that show. It just works perfect. And I'm, you know, and that was one of those things that we sat around the kitchen table one night just listening to music. And it was like, as soon as we'd hear it, we're like, that's it. We got to do that. And then we took all of our music and we sent it to Luke Carrico and said, put it together for us. And so he did that. And now we have a canned track that when we go to all air shows, we push play, and and if Luke's not at the show, he's still announcing for us on the track. So it
Oh,
makes it
that's
nice.
awesome.
It makes it very consistent with wherever we go. That way, somebody's not playing Pink Fluffy Unicorns while he's flying the night show.
Yeah.
That's a running joke between our
What's
family.
what's one part of the air show process that most fans would be shocked to learn about?
Oh, one part of the airshow process that they would be shocked to hear about. Um, the time it takes to wire the pyro. I mean, a lot of people just look at it and think that it's just roadside fireworks and that it's just we go to a fireworks stand and throw it on the airplane. Um, but a lot of people don't realize the amount of once we get all that pyro in, we have to organize it all because we get different types of pyro. So everything has to be organized, and then just the amount of time it still takes us, even with me and both of our girls wiring the pyro, it still takes us, 3 or 4 hours to get everything done. And that's working nonstop. So,
So you're
so it's
saying I
we always
can't.
tell everybody it's 4.5 hours of work for us, and it's 4.5 minutes for him to blow it all up.
So you're saying I can't buy a bunch of bottle rockets and shoot them from an airplane?
Sure. I mean,
I
people have done it we've seen all kinds of RC airplanes that have put, little bottle rockets on their airplanes. More power to you. Go for it. You might not be able to see
what?
bottle rockets on the airplane.
Yeah. How do you balance life off the air show circuit?
So our air show weekend runs usually, like I said, we usually leave on Thursday and the air show runs through Sunday. If it's a nearby air show, we'll get home Sunday night. If it's far away, it might be Monday night before we get home. And so Tuesdays and Wednesdays are our only days at home
Wow.
during the air show season. So Tuesdays usually we're going to take it easy. This is our rest day. We're going to spend some quality time as a family. We're going to go see a movie. We're going to go do this. Like, we'll make time. I'll cook dinner at home for a change on a Tuesday night. And because I don't get to do that often during the season. But Tuesdays are usually our day to just take to kind of chill out. We might end up at the airport and we might, get the gerbs ready to wire or something, just something. But the whole time we're there, we've got our Starlink pulled up and we've got Netflix going and we're watching a movie or something and just or listening to music there in the hangar. But that's our time to spend with our dog and our cats, that miss us while we're gone.
Yeah.
So Tuesday's kind of like our chill day. And then Wednesday, it's hit the ground running again, get everything ready, prepped, so that he can leave again on Thursday. And
Wow.
then usually, if I'm driving to a show, then I'm leaving on Thursday when he leaves. Sometimes earlier than he does, depending on how far away it is. So
Hmm. And how do you manage the merchandise side of things?
that's been the nice thing with me driving now is since I'm taking our merch tent to a lot of shows, it makes it easy for him to throw all the little extra things that he doesn't want to put on the airplane, or if he doesn't want to carry the wingtip smoke in the front of the airplane, he throws it in the car. He makes it as light as possible to fly, especially if I'm driving, because then he just throws everything in the truck and then it's on me to drive. But that's okay because it makes it nicer because then it allows me to pack more. I don't have to pack in a backpack when we fly in the Chipmunk. If I'm in the front seat, there is no baggage, and so everything sits under my leg. And so
Wow.
his backpack's under one leg, and my backpack's under the other leg, and then I've got stuff sitting in my lap. So it's I like it because then I can pack as much as I want. I can overpack if I want.
What's been, and I think I know the answer to this next question, but um, besides the Lego, which I think is your most popular item at the merch tent, is there another kind of like a second most popular item?
Everybody likes the challenge coins and keychains. Keychains are always a hit. We've got three different ones now, so everybody loves the keychains because our new theme now is air shows are cool. That has a funny story behind it, but so we have three keychains now, and but the challenge coins have always been a big hit. Um, a lot of people just buy them just because they say, "Oh, it's a challenge coin, I'm gonna buy it," but then they'll be like, "What's a challenge coin?" And so then you gotta tell them, what it is and the history behind it. So, but the challenge coins are always big. T-shirts are always big. Um, but it all depends on the weather. Sometimes if it's the
Yeah.
least bit chilly, with night shows, everybody wants a hoodie. Everybody wants one of these hoodies. So this is our most popular hoodie. So because it's nice and cozy.
Do you have print on the back of it?
I do. It's got the Ghost
Oh,
Rider on the back.
cool. Do you find, and I have a small like merch shop for the podcast. Do you
Mhm.
find that some people like to have a bigger logo up front, or they keep the big logos or the design, the artwork in the back?
I will say that we sell more of these hoodies than we do our other hoodie that has a big logo on the front. Um, and I don't know if that's just because of the color. I mean, this is gray. Our other one's like a light blue. Um,
Hmm.
but nobody has ever said, "Oh, I wish you had more shirts with big stuff on the front." Um, I think it's thousand one
Preference.
thing. I mean, it's just all preference.
Yeah. Yeah, I try to make it me. I mean, me personally, I like the artwork on the back because I don't like that. Like sometimes the artwork is too heavy in the front, and then it
Yep,
feels weird if you touch your
that's how I
sleeves
am.
or
I
something.
don't like a lot of stuff on the front. I just
So
and
I
maybe that's why I designed it this way. I don't know, but I don't like a lot of stuff on the front.
Yeah, so I try to put a little bit of mix of everything on the shop there. Uh, if anyone wants merch, I got a shop. Check it
Yep,
out.
yeah.
It's in my link profile somewhere in the I don't know where. I'm terrible at marketing. That's one
So am
thing.
I.
But how? I mean, you're like
I've had
doing
to like
so great.
learn a lot over this last year. So because we started
You're
taking the
doing you.
merch to a lot more shows this past year than we did the first year because I didn't start until September of 24 taking merch, and I only took it to like two shows that season because I was still trying to figure it out. Um, but then this last year, I took it to quite a few shows, so and I plan to this year as well. So
Yeah, wow, that's a lot
that's
of
that that's
lot of
my full
miles
time
for
job
you.
now.
Yeah. So you play a huge role in preparing everything from pyrotechnics, managing the merchandise tent. Nathan's out there performing this show, doing breathtaking aerobatics, skywriting. Does he still do skywriting?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
He'll be doing a lot of
Um,
that at Sun and Fun. He skywrites at almost every show because that's part of our package that we offer to different shows. Is that if you're booking us for a night show, you get the day show and you get skywriting if you request it. And a lot of some shows won't. They don't see a need in it. But then other shows will be like, I want you here on Tuesday because I want you to skywrite every single day up until the show. And it has proven at multiple shows that skywriting those few days before um, that it brings in more ticket sales. They'll see a boost in ticket sales the day before the
hmm,
show. The day of the show, they'll see a boost if he goes up that morning. So it's a great marketing tactic for shows if they would take advantage of it. As long as I got the
yeah.
smoke oil, he'll go up and do it.
Oh, that's so cool. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
So all that, you know, was he at Sun and Fun last year doing skywriting?
Yep.
So he's up there doing SNF
Yep.
25 exclamation mark. That's Nathan doing that.
Yep. He'll be up
Wow.
writing it again this year.
That's awesome. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he does that. He
So
does a lot of skywriting at Sun and Fun and Oshkosh. We look at FlightAware at the end of the week just to see all his patterns that he's flown for the week, going up and skywriting every single day. So
oh, that's
that's
so
fun to
much
look
fun.
at.
What's the one thing about the personal side of his work that you think people watching from the ground might never realize?
All the movement he's actually doing in the cockpit while he's flying. So he's not just, doing his usual maneuvers, especially for a night show. So, like I said, all the lights and everything are controlled from his phone. So we joke that he plays on his phone while he's flying. Because, when the lights go from white to red, white, and blue, they don't just magically turn that way. He has to push a button on his phone to make them turn red, white, and blue, and he's turning the dial for the pyro at the same time. So he's watching out the canopy at both wings to see when the pyro goes out, because as soon as it goes out, he's going to the next circuit and pushing fire. And then he watches for it to go out, and then when it goes out, he goes to the next circuit, pushes fire. So it's a constant. He has to know what circuit he's on. He has to know when to change the lights, and he's still flying his routine. So there's a lot going on even in the cockpit that I think a lot of people don't realize that, that 4.5 minutes, he's doing a lot while he's up there.
Yeah. Now I know why you're behind the scenes so much. Because
Yeah.
he's that 4.5 minutes is like a full day for some people,
Oh,
in the amount of
absolutely.
work that they're doing.
And especially if, depending on the weather, if it's a hot day, he's going to come back. Even at night, he comes back just sweating. So it's a task.
Yeah. Is there any fan interactions that have had a lasting impact on you?
We still have a lot of people that will send us emails, they'll send us pictures of their kids, and tell us, oh, he's the Ghostwriter's their favorite, and even to this day, there's still people that have bought merch from us that have, you know, since the time that we started selling merch, they have emailed us, here a year later and said, we just love Ghostwriter. I need to buy new t-shirts because our kids won't stop wearing them. And they're getting run down because they wear them every day. And I'm
Wow.
like, okay, that's great. That's what I want to hear. And so, and it's just, I always say that it's great to hear the crowd interaction after he flies, but after his day show, or even after his night show, when he'll pull the airplane, he'll taxi it up right to the show line. He'll leave all his lights on. He gets out of the airplane, and just everybody cheers. And he goes over to the show line there, and just all these kids are there waiting, just waiting for him to say hi or to sign an autograph. And so part of my job and is to, as soon as he lands, I'm standing there waiting with hero cards, a Sharpie, and stickers. That way, all he has to do is get out of the airplane, take his parachute off, and I've got his hat ready to go, so he can take his headset off, put his hat on, and he walks over to and starts signing autographs. So it's a lot of just being ready for the next thing. We talk about as a family a lot that you've got to be thinking ahead, thinking of what's coming next, not just waiting for somebody to tell you what to do. So we've tried to instill that in our girls of, think ahead, think about what somebody might need,
Mhm.
not just dear old dad, they'll go take care of another performer and take them water or something when they land, just because they'll see that, oh, their crew chief's not here or their wife's not here. We're going to go take care of them. So we have tried to really push that with them of just think ahead. And so that's a lot of what our business is just thinking ahead and knowing what's coming next, of what's the next best thing. What do we need to be working towards? So,
You guys are doing a hell of a job thinking about what's next. I mean, that's every show is just like, wow, this is never even thought about that one. You know, it's you're doing a great job doing that. What travel routine keeps you sane during the long tour schedule? Like if you have this long show coming up for either Oshkosh or Sun and Fun, What's that one thing that's keeping you sane throughout the whole week?
Organization, just having every lists. I'm a list person, and that's the teacher in me. I have to have a list for everything. And so, I have an Oshkosh packing list. I have not just for our personal things, but just we have an air show packing list that we keep in our notes section that we all share with each other. And just a checklist that we go through before every air show, not just Oshkosh and Sun and Fun, the big ones, but we go through the air show checklist every single time just to make sure that we've packed everything that we possibly need to pack, that we could possibly need for the weekend, either in the truck or it's in the airplane. There's a whole lot that, a lot of it doesn't get packed, just, the extras of this and the extras of that, that we might need. But a lot of it doesn't get packed if we're just taking the chipmunk. If I'm driving, everything goes. So we get by with a checklist. Everything is in a checklist. And as far as travel, if I'm not driving or if I'm not flying with Nate and the chipmunk, or if our support airplane's not going, usually I'm jumping on Delta or Southwest or something and flying to the next show. And so we're booking that travel. We're thinking ahead, because we're already I was asking Nate the other day. I was like, okay, which one of the girls is flying with you to this show? Because I need to know who's flying with me in an airline, out to this show, because I need to get our tickets because they're cheaper now. And so it's a lot of planning ahead and just being ready for the next thing.
Out of the whole Ghost Rider air show act, is there a favorite part? Is it the daytime aerobatics, the skywriting, the night show, pyrotechnics? Is there one that is your favorite overall?
I love the night show. I've always loved the night show just because, and I don't know if it's just because I know I have a part in it because I helped wire the pyro and I'm the one counting them down. I'm just, I still remember the first time I had to count him down at Oshkosh, and it was just so nerve wracking. But, getting the thumbs up from some of the announcers up there after it was over and like they were mind blown, that just makes it all worthwhile. But yeah.
If you could design a show element that's completely outside the current Ghost Rider act, what would it be?
Oh, I don't know. We'd have some sort of ground effects or something to go with, not just fireworks. I don't know. Have something cool on the ground to go with it. I don't know, circus performers or something. I don't know. I think it'd be kind of cool. I don't know,
You
just kind
gonna
of ground effects,
Is there ever gonna be a race against the jet truck?
Um, he's done that once before during a night show. He's raced the jet truck at night, so I'm sure that'll happen again at some point. But I was going to say, we love Disney. We go to Disney all the time, and so we like the Disney shows, and so we're constantly looking at like the Disney shows, like Fantasmic, things like that, and thinking, how could we do that in an air show? How could we incorporate those water fountains, at an air show? That would be so cool. But then that takes lots of 18-wheelers bringing water tanks and all kinds of stuff. So,
Yeah.
but we're constantly looking at like what can we do to make things better and make the industry better.
That sounds great. I guess you could always coordinate with the an ARF truck. You
Yeah.
know, the
Oh yeah, that might work.
the let's see. Mark says if only the music from Wishes or Happily Ever After would be able to be licensed for the show.
Absolutely. If they could fly to happily ever after, they'd have everybody in tears, including me.
How do you work with air show organizers and other performers to keep everything coordinated?
So everything that we have, I said I'm big on organization. Everything is in Google Drive, and I put everything in Google Drive because I'm a Google person. Like that's what I've learned is Google. That's what we used when I was teaching was Google. And so it's just so seamless for me to use Google and organize every show by their own folder. And
Mm.
so, things that like I was saying, 6 to 12 months out, we're working with producers and marketing teams, and media people to schedule things and um, to talk about. Sometimes shows want us to do our own little promotional video and send it to them. And so I'll put those things in that folder and just share that folder with the show, with the producers. That way they've got everything they need. They've got their contract in there. They've got our performance requirements. They've got any kind of other paperwork that they might need, media links, things like that. Everything goes in those folders. And so organization is just a big thing for me. But I'm still working on Nate to try and get to use Google because he's still old school and likes to use Microsoft Office. So,
No, no Office.
I know. I cannot get him to come over to the dark side. So
I mean, do you like the Google Workspace?
I do. I do. I
Yeah.
mean, that's just what I've always used, and that's just what's easy for me. And it just makes it easy to share things and save things and be able to access it anywhere.
Yeah. There is some pros and cons to it. We're trying to switch over at work from like Microsoft Office that we've used it for 500 years to
Uh-huh.
then going to Google Workspace where half the stuff doesn't line up right or transfer over as easy. So there's people that are already kind of resistant to change a little bit, but maybe the dark side will you know be better in the
Maybe
future.
we can convert them soon.
So it's not just you and Nathan working the circuit. Your two girls are also involved with the show. Can you tell me a little bit more about what your daughters are doing during the show? Or
So they are, like I was saying earlier, we have taught them how to wire the pyro. They're both 15, they're twins. And they have both learned how to wire the pyro and to load it on the airplane. They've learned how to take all the pyro off the airplane. They clean the airplane. They know how to fuel it. They know how to put oil in it. I mean, they I say I'm the crew chief. They're really the crew chiefs now because if I've got the merch tent, I don't see them all weekend.
Hmm.
And so they are learning the business very quickly, and they're jumping right into it. They get their schoolwork. They're both homeschooled, so they get all their schoolwork done for the day, and then it's airplanes. The rest of the day. And like I said, I was telling you earlier, they're both looking to start. They're both studying to take their written. They both want to be pilots. Um, they are surrounded by so many awesome people in this industry, and it's just that little nudge that they keep needing, and they get it from everybody. And they love everybody in this industry, and they just can't wait to get to the next show to see everybody. So between wiring the pyro, they don't do any of the logistical work. That's all me. But they take care of the airplane, and they help after he flies. They're standing right there with the hero cards and the sharpies, and their most recent thing this past year was they have now stolen both of my cameras, and they are now our official photographers for every show. So they take my cameras and they fight over the long lens, and they go stand out there on the show line, and they take pictures the entire air show. And so
That's
if they're not
awesome.
taking pictures of their dad, they're taking pictures of all their friends, that are flying.
Oh, that's cool. That's like a nice little slideshow kind of memory for
Oh,
that
absolutely, absolutely.
experience.
I love it. I love that they have picked up that photography bug because, looking back, I tried to give them my old camera. I had an old Rebel T3 that I told them, I was like, here, try this. And a friend of ours gave us his Rebel T3. And we're like, well, here, why don't you start taking pictures at the air shows? And they were just kind of like, I don't want to. They weren't interested at all. But then it was like, okay, they started taking pictures and they're like, oh, how's this one? What's this one look like? And so they're both becoming quite the little photographers. They are giving me a run for my money.
So that it's great. We kind of got into that because the Spotters podcast. We're all about photography here. Um, how has the social media platforms, Instagram, how has that helped Ghostwriter air shows connect with fans, sponsors, and other next generation of pilots?
We have said all along that, we have our social media accounts. We have Facebook, we have Instagram. We never got into the TikTok scene with Ghostwriter, but our goal is we're trying to build a brand. We're trying to build a brand not just for us, but for the airshow industry as a whole. And so we always joke that we're not trying to score internet points, but social media is a great outlet for us to be able to get our schedules out there for people that want to see schedules that don't want to go to the website and look for it. And we want to we want to use what we post, and we want our followers to be genuine. We don't want bots. We don't want, just the spam followers that, so we're not looking to, like I said, score those internet points to get millions of followers or anything. We want to inspire the next generation of pilots and the next generation of those going into aerospace, because it's going to take us who knows where. I mean, we're getting ready to watch Artemis, launch back to go around the moon. But we just want to inspire people to become involved in aviation, whether it be to go volunteer at an air show or to just go to an air show just to watch what these people can do. I mean, it's just, it amazes me every single time, the people that come to air shows, and you want to ask them, why did you just choose to come to the air show? What do you like about an air show? Is it the snacks? Or is it like, do you really want to just watch these airplanes? Because I mean, you'll get a lot of people that come to Sun and Fun that just come just to go walk through the vendors, and go shop, and they don't really care about the air show. But we want to build that next generation of airshow pilots and of pilots in general, or kids just interested in aerospace. So we use the social media just as a way to kind of promote what we do, and just the fun we have doing it. We post a lot of videos of our air to air videos just because we like to go have fun with our friends. So I mean, that's what the air shows are to us. So our motto is go see the world. And we want people just to get outside, go to an air show, go to your park, go somewhere, just get outside and just go see something different every day. Go see the world.
Yeah, that's, I mean, being, I mean, I'm in mid 40s, right? So our fun time was outside.
Yep.
It's not like sitting inside. I mean, I did play video games like crazy, like high school and college. I was inside playing video games all the time, but my love of aviation is like uh decades. I got into aviation. My parents took me to an air show when I was like 6 years old, 5 years old, seeing the Blue Angels fly over El Toro, or MCAS El Toro in California. And I was like, oh, that's really fun. That's cool. Maybe, we'll see where that leads, and I thought about getting into flying when I was younger and when I was in college. And I thought to myself, man, these planes are going too slow. Like, I don't want to do steep turns in a Cessna all day, you know? And I never pursued it. So now I went to Sun and Fun last year, and I'm still like on a high from Sun and Fun last year, seeing all these vintage airplanes. I'm like, oh man, that'd be cool to fly. Hmm, maybe I'll get into doing steep turns for 2 days in a row and see if I can now I'm more into flying. I mean, I always loved aviation.
Mm-hmm.
I work in aviation now. I've been doing it for 20 years this year. So, and I've been learning aviation since I was in high school. So it's never going to go away. And now I have an aviation podcast. So it just keeps on snowballing. It's just going to get bigger. Um, you've been doing a lot of air to air shoots, and it seems like you're the air to air photographer for the show. Is this correct?
It seems to be that way at some shows that you show up with a support airplane that you can shoot photos out of. Everybody wants to be your friend. Um, so yeah, any show that we're able to take our Seneca to, it is my photo platform. And so as long as we have the Seneca there and we've got our friends there, we are definitely, you know, scheduling those air to air shoots, um, so that we can just go, you know, take photos. I mean, that was one thing that Nate and I promised that we were going to do once Rob passed, because he was always the one that kind of was scheduling those things because we always had a lot of shows with him. And he would always schedule them, and he'd text me or something and say, hey, can you come take photos? And so that was one of the things that, Nate and I said we were going to do, was that we're going to do as many air to air flights with our friends as we can, because we want those memories. We want those pictures. So yeah, anytime we get the chance to take our Seneca anywhere, you better believe I'm going to be sitting in that door taking pictures.
Do you have, if there's, I mean, you want to take pictures of all your friends, and I would love to take pictures of all your friends also. Is there like a kind of bucket list air to air shoot that you want to do with Nathan, like a wingman for Nathan there? Is there a like a bucket list wingman?
I've always wanted to do, like, if we could get the Thunderbirds or the Blues, any of those. We tried to work it out that we could, before the A10 retired. We were talking with Lindsay, trying to see if we could get, just, even if she was just like, just pass us and we'll take a picture. and but we never could get them to approve it, and so that was a tough one. But yeah, any of the jet teams would be awesome. He's done a flight with. I didn't get to go on the flight, but Photo Crew did some air to air with him and the Snowbirds, which was really cool. But yeah, I'd love to do Thunderbirds, the Blue Angels. The Blues are a little more willing to do those things, but it'd be awesome to get some of those shots. But or any of the other ones. But the biggest problem is the chipmunk's not very fast.
Mm.
So it's kind of hard for him to keep up. So
With an
they
F-16?
have to slow way down. I mean, we have to be kind of on like a downhill, turn to even get the shots. But yeah, it'd be cool. It's a pipe dream of mine, but I don't know if that'll ever work
I
out.
mean,
I'm not sure he's fast enough.
maybe this year with the 250, everything's red, white, and blue. Maybe we
No,
could
it'd
get
be
a.
cool. Be cool. I don't know. We'll see.
We have to
I would
talk to
really
the
like,
Thunderbird.
yeah. I would like to do some night photo shoots with just like some sort of, like, not really night, but just I want to do some more of like the evening, like twilight air to air with pyro,
Mhm.
with
Oh wow, that'd be cool.
all of our pyro buddies.
Wow,
So,
that would be
but
epic. Yeah,
yeah, so
that would
they've
be
done a
really.
few. Aviation Photo Crew has done a few with Nate and some of the night show performers at Sun and Fun last year. So we got some good shots out of that. But I don't know. I haven't done it yet, so I think it'd be kind of cool.
How technical would that be camera wise? Like, you would probably have to have a pretty fast lens, high ISO. Do you have like
Yeah,
do you have like a kind of, I don't want to say like a one and done type of settings that you use for air to air, but because it's you could have, I had this experience recently, and it kind of wears on me a little bit. I did a impromptu like air to air shoot with some aerobatic friends at work, and I was thinking the whole time, no stuck props. Like, I need to have motion in there, so everything was shot at like
dangling.
1/80th of a second. And I'm thinking, okay, I went into someone's hangar probably like a month ago, and they had photos of an air to air that, and they're like, oh, he's a really great photographer, but all the props were like like just stopped, and I'm like, no,
Looks like they were
no,
just stuck on the picture.
no. So I'm like thinking, okay, there's a fine line of, and I don't have a prime lens, so I'm trying to use my 3.5 to f5 lens.
Yep.
Um, and there is a fine line between having that prop motion and also having that plane that's crisp. And some people kind of want to have a crisp a shot of airplane versus trying to get it artistic. I like to kind of push the envelope on the artistic side a little bit. Do you have a side that you like to kind of stick with?
I go back and forth. A lot of it depends on the scenery, and a lot of it just depends on who's in the shot. Um, if I've got multiple airplanes in there, then I'm trying to like, you know, I'm going to run my shutter speed up just a little bit, just so that I can get all the airplanes looking crisp and clear. But a lot of it just depends on what the scenery is. Like our Niagara Falls shoot, I was trying to be a little more artistic, I guess you could say, because I wanted that pretty. I wanted the falls to be clear in the back, but
Mhm.
also wanted Kyle and Nate to be clear when they were going over. So it varies. I switch back and forth. So I mean, it just most of it usually depends on what the background is and what the scenery is. If I want the background to be blurred, then I'm going to be focused more on trying to get the airplanes clear. But I mean, I still remember the first time I was able to get prop blur. Several years ago. I mean, a couple of years ago, several years ago. The first time I ever did an air to air, it was out of a Cub, and that was difficult. But was taking photos of Nate and the Chipmunk, and the first time I got prop blur, it was just like, oh my gosh, I got prop blur. And
I
now
made
it's
it.
like, okay, if I get prop blur, it's great, But then now I'm looking at everything else, like, okay, the prop blur is great, it's beautiful, but is the airplane clear?
Yeah,
So now I'm a little harder on myself when I go to edit. That I have to make sure that this photo is one that I want to share with everybody, and it's photos that I want to share with the person that I took the photo of. So
yeah. And I'm looking at your, I guess, personal page here. It's KH underscore Ghostwriter. And you have, I mean, every shot is crisp, even if it is a little bit of prop blur or like really full disc. Um, it's amazing.
thank you.
Really good.
I only post the good ones.
I like to post the good ones, and sometimes I post the bad ones because even in those failures, we learn, and I think more
Absolutely.
people need to realize, hey, not you maybe caught a bad photo. Everybody catches bad photos, you
And
know?
that's exactly what I'm trying to teach both of my girls is that when I've shown them the basics of editing in Lightroom, and so just trying to get them to understand that you don't have to edit every single photo. Take these 5 photos that are all of the same shot and pick the best one out of those 5, and then they'll start learning how to be nitpicky about their photos of, oh well, if he just moved over just this little much, this photo would have been a whole lot better, especially when I'm, if I'm holding down the shutter and when there's, a formation going on, and I'm going to go back and look at those photos, and, I'll go through a series and be like, oh, well, that's the one because they're in perfect formation at just the right time, and their wings look like they're just touching and they're all one line, it's just, um, you just have to be critical of yourself. So I'm trying to teach them to
Definitely.
do
We
that.
are we are the most critical of our photos. I mean, the more
Absolutely.
you do it, it's like I rarely kind of spray and pray now because everything is in the viewfinder. I'm making sure I dial it, perfectly, and then if it's going to be a slow shutter, I might have to spray and pray a little bit, but I'm making sure that it doesn't get overexposed, that it's all kind of like perfectly framed up. Still trying to think about the rule of thirds in the background, and still trying
Yep.
to think of, does this background look, does it work? Does it not work? Is it too distracted? Do I
Yep.
want a different color in here? Lucky that now Photoshop allows us to edit whatever we want. I could grab a photo that all the planes are passing these solar panels down here in Miami-Dade, and I'm like, oh, I don't like that. Let's remove that background and let's put it passing over the Disney castle.
Yeah,
Oh, that looks
exactly.
better.
Absolutely. I
All
have been
right.
very lucky over so many years. Ever since I started taking photos, I have been very lucky to be surrounded by a ton of amazing aviation photographers. Um, just asking for tips and hints and, tips on editing. And everybody has their own unique thing that they want to tell you. And you take all of those little bits of information and you just apply it. And so I've tried to tell our girls to do that, take all these little bits of information. I'm like, in every show I introduce them to these photographers. I'm like, this is so and so, this is, he does these photos. And so introducing them to those people, and then those people are like, hey, let me see your photos. And so the girls are excited to show their photos.
Yeah.
So, hopefully I'll get some time behind the lens this year if they don't steal them from me again. But I'm hoping at Buckeye that I'll actually get to take some pictures at Buckeye this year, since I'm not taking our merch tent out there. But we shall see. That is to be determined.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, so looking forward to the future, what goals do you have for Ghost Rider air shows?
Continue on the path that we're on right now. Just continue booking shows and keeping the same consistent quality of air shows that we bring to every show across the country. And, our goal is to go see the world. And we're just doing it one air show at a time. So we're going to keep on that path and start working towards the next thing.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to your shows this year. I mean, I have 4 to 5 coming up throughout the year. So yeah, we'll hang
We'll
out.
see.
We'll see, and hopefully, and we are seeing the world. I mean, it's the first time
Absolutely.
I'm doing Georgia air show this year. So one step at a time, one state at a time.
Tall trees in Georgia. We used to live in Georgia. So.
All right, Kelley, thanks for joining us. You want to give us pretty much where they can find the schedule and your photos?
So my Instagram page is the only thing that has all of my photos on it. It's the KH Ghost Rider _ Ghost Rider. And then Ghost Rider _ air shows is our air show page that has videos, pictures, our schedules on there as well, or ghostriderairshows.com has our schedule. And if you want your own Ghost Rider merch, it's at gwamerch.com.
Awesome.
And
All
you'll have an
right, Kelley.
Instagram page for that too.
Yeah, I see that in first
Yeah.
of official merch.
I run so many Instagram pages.
Yeah, I have a few myself also. All right, Kelley, thanks for joining us. It's been a great show. You see, it was no worries. It was all good.
Yeah, wasn't too bad.
All right, I'll see you at the Georgia Wings Over North Georgia Air Show.
Yeah, we'll see
See
you
you
there.
in
Thanks
May.
for having me.
All right, have a good
See ya.
night. Thank you everyone for joining. Have a good night.